Alright, hey guys, we're back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about skills, skill management, and what to really focus on when it comes to pretty much this screen right here, right? So I've been planning on making this video for a long time, but I had a script, but it kept changing because they kept changing perks and things like that. So for this video, we're going to talk about the attributes, the skills, what they do in general, but we're not going to touch on the perks since there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be made, and they already started being made to the one-handed and all the other skills. But yeah, here's my script. It's a pretty long one. It might be a long video. It's going to be in the description like always, and you guys can translate or look at it, whatever you guys want to do. But yeah, we're going to go over everything. I'm gonna tell you what to focus on, and some general tips and tricks as well that have to do with it, and hopefully this explains a lot to you guys. But yeah, so let's just start it all off. So two things: increasing any of the 6 attributes, which is going to be vigor, control, endurance, cunning, social or society, whatever, and intelligence. So pretty much increasing any of those 6 will increase the learning limit and the experience gain speed of the 3 bounded skills. So if you increase vigor, this will increase one-handed, two-handed, and polearm. It's going to increase the learning rate, which is how fast you gain XP, and also the learning limit, which is this green shading and this point right here. The learning limit is pretty much how much you can learn with this learning rate, and once you get past it, this drops off. I'm going to explain that a little bit later in more detail. But pretty much, and then increasing any skill by itself does the exact same thing, but it only does it to the upgraded skill. So it will increase the learning rate, which is the XP gain, and also the this green line right here. Now, just a quick PSA, I already said it a little bit earlier, but I will not be discussing perks. I will not be discussing these because a lot of them are getting overhauled. But I still think this video is informative when it comes to skills overall and just, other things like that. But once all the perks are overhauled, I will make another video talking about best perks, this and all that stuff. But for right now, I just want to make one that has to do with skill management in general. Now, let's just talk about the skills and what they do in general. We're going to go by skill. So for Vigor Skills, we have one-handed, and pretty much what this does is speed and damage. The higher this number is, the better speed and damage. Two-handed, same thing, speed and damage, but it has to do with two-handed weapons, and polearm has to do with polearms, and it's speed and damage as well. The higher these numbers are, the better speed and the better damage you will do. Now for the control, which is this group right here, the bow pretty much has to do with damage, accuracy, and also your bow difficulty. Because some bows, if you noticed, let's just go to our inventory real quick. This bow that I have right here, as you can see, it requires bow 50. So there's requirements. So the higher your bow skill is, the better bows you can use pretty much in the game. I would say the requirements are pretty low for the good bows, which this one is a very good bow, and it's a very low requirement of 50. Now we have Crossbow, which it helps reload speed and accuracy, and then for throwing, it helps the speed, damage, and accuracy of throwing weapons, and crossbows, obviously crossbows. Now we're going to move on to endurance. So endurance, riding, has to do with mount difficulty, which pretty much means the level of horse you can ride. Same way as the bow. If we check any of these out, you can see it requires riding 10. The one I have requires riding 60. So the higher level this is, the better type of horse you can ride pretty much. Now let's move on to... Oh, it helps with the mount difficulty, the one we just talked about, horse speed and maneuver. So you can faster horses, plus you can maneuver a little bit better, turns and stuff like that. Now athletics has to do with running speed pretty much. Higher the number, faster you are on foot. And then smithing, the higher this number is pretty much the better weapon you can make without a penalty being applied to the weapon. Now we have cunning skills. For cunning skills, we have scouting, which it helps with track detection radius and difficulty, also scouting distance and track information. Now what does this mean? Let's get back on the map. So it means you can see parties farther away. As you can see right here, I can see a lot of parties farther away. And also parties, they leave track information, as you can see right here. It's not used a lot. It could be if you really wanted to, right? But yeah, it's more if you're later into the game and you kind of really become specialized in that type of stuff. It's kind of useful, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe if you're trying to track a huge party or a huge army, right? You can see the party size and you can see, oh, this party has 1,500, so maybe it's a big enemy army, right? Stuff like that, pretty much. Or if you're trying to track somebody down, let's say a lord, like a lord that you need to track down, let's say to make peace with or get them on your side, right? You might look at the party size, what it is, and then search them down as well. So pretty much scouting helps with the detection of tracks, better info, and how far you can see different parties at. Next, we have tactics. Tactics have to do with simulation advantages and also the decrease in troops lost if you retreat or get away. So you're going to lose percent less troops every time you try to get away or retreat, the higher this number is. And also what simulation advantages pretty much means is, like, I'm pretty sure some of these some of these skills will be a little bit better. So as you can see right here, you'll do a little bit more damage with soldiers. You might cavalry causes 10% more morale loss. Just like in battles, you will do better depending on what you have. Now we have roguery. So this one pretty much has to do with just your battle loot. It will the higher this number is, the better percent loot you will receive from winning fights, sieges, hideouts, all that stuff. Now we have social skills, which is charm, leadership, and trade. So charm has to do with your relationship gains with NPCs. The higher this number is, the better like pretty much relation and reputation gain you will receive whenever you do something positive with them, right? Then leadership, leadership is, the higher your leadership is, the higher your party morale will be, and the higher your garrison size will be. Then we have trade, which is a percentage of the trade penalty reduction, which pretty much means you're going to get a lot better deals the higher this number is. Now we have intelligence skills. So we have steward. The higher this number is, more party size you will receive. We have medicine, which is increasing the overall healing rate and a better survival rate. Then we have engineering, which is pretty much siege engine and building production. The higher this number is, the faster they will be built and the better they will be built. And also siege engine difficulty, so you'll be able to build better siege engines pretty much the same way as riding has the mounted, the mounted level, and also bows have the bow level. The higher engineering is, the better machines you can build, like siege machines. Okay, so we pretty much went over all the skills, pretty much what this number means and how it affects the skill. Now we're going to talk about some general tips and tricks, and also what I choose to level up and how I choose to level up these skills, right? So in general, you want to upgrade skills and attributes whenever the yellow shading line, which is this one right here, pretty much meets the green shading line. Because the green shading line is pretty much your learning limit, which means that's the once you reach your learning limit, your learning rate will slow down drastically. So if you increase the learning limit, which pretty much, if you add a focus point here or to here, that will increase this green area right here for you. Now you can still, this brings me to my second point, you can still learn past your learning limit. So my learning limit for this is 190, right? Once I get past it, let's say once it reaches 190, I can still learn it, but this rate of my XP gain will go down. I'm pretty sure it's every level or every 5 levels after the learning limit. It will go down drastically. As you can see right here, for Charm, you can see my learning rate is 0.94. Because look, you can see right here, learning limit exceeded -4. So the more, so the farther you get into it past the learning limit, the lower the rate will be, and it will eventually reach 0 to the point where you cannot research it at all. As you can see, this is 0.18, so we're really close to the 0 mark. Now, leveling is very slow in Bannerlord in general, and there's also what we like to call a soft level cap on level 24, which means once you reach level 23 to 24, you will gain levels significantly slower. I don't know if this was intended. I don't know if this is a bug. There was a bug in Warband. I think it was like level 60 something, where pretty much your skill points used to drop off dramatically. But in this game, it seems to be 23, 24, 25, around there, where everything starts to slow down. So what I would suggest is focus on what you need, which I'm going to explain what I focus on after this. But focus on what you need. Do not try to level everything up like equally, or you're going to end up with a lot of skills just being in this, you know, this first 3 perk, what do you call it, window, right? Because you do want some skills to reach this high level, you know, and some skills are going to have to, you know, stay back. You're going to have to pick what you want, but not pick everything. Because if you pick everything, you're going to be kind of proficient in everything, but you're not going to be a master at some skills, because you're not going to have enough, what do you call it, pretty much focus points to increase your levels. Now, let's talk about overall attributes, what I focus on, and how I get it done. So just so you have some proof. So with this build right here that I'm showing off right here, I did take over the whole map. I'm doing pretty good, you know, and I started my own kingdom and all that. And I was not a vassal. So I did it all from, you know, and pretty much this is how I did it with these type of what do you want to call it, this skill tree, right? So let's talk about Vigor and Control. I'm going to talk about both of them at the same time because it's very simple. I would say focus on 2, or even just focus on 1. And I mean them in skills. I don't mean attributes. I mean focus on 1 skill for each. One that you're going to use throughout the game. Yes, I understand it might be more fun, but if you're trying to get proficient in what's it called? If you're trying to get proficient, like good skills overall, you need to choose 2 of these, because if you choose all 6, these skills will be lacking down here. And these skills right here, down here, I'm going to talk about them a little bit further, but they are very needed in the end game, right? While these might help you early game a lot, these you will need. So if you waste all your skill points on, you know, being the strongest guy, you know, the best weapon person, you're not going to be able to take over things, and you're going to have a lot of troubles because you didn't put any points into the end game skill category pretty much. So I would choose, when it comes to Vigor, choose 1. I usually choose one-handed because it's the most common. And then for Control, I choose the bow. I enjoy the bow. You can choose crossbow or throwing, whatever you like, right? I would suggest just pick 1 of each. Now, when it comes to endurance, this one right here, if you plan to be on horseback most of the time, level up your riding. If you plan to be on foot, level up your athletics. That's pretty much the gist of it, right? I'm always on horseback. I enjoy being on horseback, so I pick riding, right? In athletics, it's still going to level up even if you put nothing into it, like I said before. But, yeah. Because as you can see, I'll just show you real quick. It has to do with horseback. See, when you enter on horseback, the ending thing right there, horse hit points, and then this one has to do with +2 melee damage on foot. So all of them. So if you pick both, it kind of doesn't make sense, unless, you know, you're going to be an equal time on foot and an equal time on horseback, which is never really the case. Usually pick 1. Now for smithing, it depends what you're going for. I have other playthroughs where I have a very high smithing level. It's not needed in the game. It's just a fun, cool little feature. You can make some money on it. You can make some cool weapons out of it, but it's not needed in the game, in my opinion. But it is fun. If you want to try it out, go try it out, right? Now we have the cunning skills. So scouting, I level this up a lot because it does help you move faster on the map, and it also helps you find more parties, especially early on. It's good to see where parties are at, so you don't bump in. So you don't bump into like a huge group of people. Let's say I was this guy, right, and I had very low scouting. The enemy can get this close, and I still might not see them until they literally attack me, and that's a problem. So I suggest you level scouting a lot. Also, tactics, I level it up a lot as well because it helps in battles tremendously. As you can see, archers deliver 60% more damage if the battle is in a forest. We have your cavalry does 50% more damage to archers. So it really helps your troops and your battle situations. So tactics helps a lot. And fighting is one of the core game mechanics in this game, you know. So, you know, I feel like tactics is very good in that regard. Now for roguery, it depends. It's good if you want to like take a more evil approach. If you want to be like that guy who raids more, who you know, uses intimidation, more, you know, it's more of like if you want to be more greedy and just, you know, not care about attacking villagers, not care about bad reputation. If that's the route you want to go, roguery is very good. It's also what would you call it? It's also, it helps with the battle loot, like I said before, so that can be a plus, but it really depends on your preference. Sometimes I level it up, sometimes I don't. But these two are the most important in my opinion, scouting and tactics. Now, let's talk about society, social, I would say society. But this one is very important in my opinion. Charm and leadership are, I would say, top two when it comes to late game. Charm has to do with your relationship with NPCs and how much XP you gain. A lot of these have like persuasion increases whenever you do a speech check, +2 relationship just when you meet them. It has just a lot of good things when it comes to like dealing with the other NPCs, or even like, as you can see, we have a town bonus, we have a settlement bonus, and you know, I think it's a very good skill to have late game. Now leadership also, it helps you pretty much maintaining a good army. Helps you with maintaining a good army. Gives you high morale, and a lot of these perks have to do with like less wage. We have, I'm pretty sure there's an XP gain. Yep, XP gain for the troops, and just overall troop management. Then we have trade. This one, it's kind of like roguery. Sometimes I upgrade it, sometimes I don't, depending if you're planning on, I guess, selling a lot or, you know, trading a lot. In my opinion, I usually leave that up to my companions who have a high trade, and I give them the caravans, you know, eventually. But yeah, it just depends what route you want to go. If you want to do a lot of training in the game in your little playthrough, then yes, upgrade trade. If you plan to just conquer people, fight a lot, it's not really needed in my opinion. But you can still put 1 or 2 points if you really want to. Now we have intelligence. So steward is huge in late game. It pretty much has to do with how you maintain fiefs. Has a lot of fief perks that help you, you know, to help your fiefs grow. As you can see, villagers grow at twice the rate, 50% more taxes. Just stuff that helps your fiefs, like makes you a good what do you call it, owner, right? And it also increases your party size, which is a great plus. Then we have medicine. It helps with healing. I usually don't put too much into it. I usually just heal at settlements if I'm really wounded, right? Some of these skills in the beginning are also very good too, but I don't know if they're going to change. I mean, these perks, right? Like this one, 10 hit points. It's a big upgrade. But yeah, I usually just put 1 or 2 in there. But I don't usually level up all the way to the end, right? I get good armor, and usually I don't have to heal that much. Then we have engineering. It is very, very good late game when you're sieging and taking over fiefs. It helps you build siege weapons that are better and faster. So, in my opinion, I do level this up a little bit late game, right? Now, so that's pretty much going over all the skills, the management, and all of that. Let me know if you want me to make a video about how to level up all these skills, right? Because it's kind of it does say it in the, what do you call it? It does say it in the how to learn, right? But if you guys want like a bigger, what do you call it? A guide on how to do it, where I write my script and pretty much tell you all the different ways, please let me know. I will do that. But hopefully this gave you guys a general overlook on skills, how they're managed, and how you should manage them, right? And gave you some good general tips and all of that. But yeah, like always, the script will be in the description. Ask me any questions, and stay safe.